So what was the decision on this case?
This case was it was David Gold was a doctor.
What was his decision?
That it wasn't wrong.
That
the California Supreme Court ruled that Moore had no right to any share of the profits realized from the commercialization of anything developed from his discarded body
Wait,
parts.
who's Moore?
All right, that's what I was going to say.
He had cancer. They used his cells.
Moore, Moore had cancer.
Is that the only legislation on the books? What other legislations? Is there any legislations on the other side? Anywhere?
Well, it was tossing back and forth, and judges kept tossing it back and forth. They didn't know, and so they kept taking it higher and higher and higher. And so when they brought this to the Supreme Court of California, that's when the Supreme Court ruled this issue.
And on what grounds did they suppose that your body parts after you die have no value whatsoever?
Well,
except
not
for
after you
science.
die. Not
I'm
after
saying they have great value to science, but there's no regulation as to how that's taken.
Well, don't you, and before you die, or your family after you die, sign a paper that says you're paid to donate organs or to donate your body?
For organ donors, yes. If you're an organ donor, they can literally do whatever they want with the cells, and you will never see a dime because you signed away those organs.
Yeah.
David?
But see, that makes sense. You signed away.
If you
You chose to say, you can use my body for experiments.
Right.
If right now you go and you buy a vial of the cells and you test them, could you find her DNA in the cells?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Her DNA is in the cells.
So when
it's just it's slightly mutated in like one little codon of the duplication process, but her DNA is there.
So couldn't they take claim to it since they didn't sign away anything?
No, and that's because this ruling was because since if you ever go to the doctor and they take a sample of your blood or something, and then you know how they throw it away after, anything that's discarded, like you see it discarded, and you're fine with that, then it's officially not yours anymore. But they literally have the right to take your cells once they get rid of them. So if they take a blood sample...
It's strange that there's no disclaimer, right? I mean, we should be able to... We just found out, it's the first time probably news for everybody, that when you just go to the doctor for a checkup and they take a blood sample, they can use that in any way, shape, or form for any kind of science.
Yeah, because it's discarded and it becomes waste. And once it's discarded from your body, it's not yours anymore. And an interesting fact is that if they clone you and they take your cells to clone you, they use your discarded cells, which obviously cloning is illegal right now, but if the possibility is, if you were cloned using discarded cells and they needed more of these cells, they can literally just take them from you.
And if my clone creates...
Even if you did not want...
And if my clone ends up committing a crime, am I responsible? Or are they responsible?
Well, cloning is another bioethical issue. See, cloning is... Your clone is responsible because you didn't do anything. But, I mean...
So why would you be responsible? Because it's you.
But it's not. I mean,
that's you.
This is
It's
the
not
issue.
you at all. It's your clone.
How is my... It's I don't understand the law because it's illegal for me to discard my own body. It's illegal for me to commit suicide. It's illegal to get rid of my own body. Yet science can take your body and use it. However, which way they want.
Once they take your blood, it's not yours.
I don't like this law.
It's not yours.
Right. Technically, this is the ethical
law. That's
this
what
is
it
the
is.
ethical standpoint. Is they say that it's the law. It's not yours once they discard it. Once it's out of your body.
Once they take it out of your body, it's not yours.
Morally,
they can do whatever they want with it.
Morally, a lot of people have a problem with this.
I'm
mean,
surprised that the Supreme Court...
If I saw them throwing away my blood sample, I wouldn't say anything because what am I going to do with it? But I still wouldn't want them testing it without my permission.
What are you going to do with that vial of blood?
Yeah, what do you care?
Well, what confuses me,
like
what's
to know
the
what they're
difference
gonna do.
between having a baby or having a toe chopped off or having an appendix taken out? At what point does it become not yours? Because if you have a baby, it's always going to be yours. But if you,
I mean, I'm all for giving it to
if you
science.
give
I guess
some
they're
cancer
gonna
cells,
use it.
apparently it's not yours.
But I'd like to know.
That's right.
I really honestly would like to know what they're doing with whatever
Well,
they're
I
doing.
mean, I don't understand how there should not be a disclaimer that you simply yes or no. I want my cells used for scientific investigation. I don't want my cells. They're your cells.
Isn't that what they do? Like
Of course
when you
they're
get
my
your
cells.
license
Once they
taken?
take it out,
That's for organs.
Oh, okay.
No, it's different. They still have your DNA in it when they take it out, so technically it's still yours.
I mean, if
Not
you,
according
if,
to
if
this.
that disclaimer is like really like an issue, someone should definitely bring it up. But
Not
right now,
according to that.
currently, they don't have that law.
Now, how is this different from, say, I come by, I'm a mad scientist or whatever, and I work for the government. I work for the government science lab, right? And I come by Nikki and I take some hair off Nikki, he doesn't notice, right? And I take his hair and I manipulate the DNA and I start looking and finding research and stuff like that. Or I see a hair that falls out, I take it. It's not your hair anymore.
Well, if it falls out, you can take
I take
it.
your hair and then I begin an investigation, and using all that information, I
there's nothing
can
you can
just
do.
do all kinds of, find all kinds of things
You can do that.
to assess about
But that's not-
Nikki
that's still not right.
and his genetics, and I send out, I create a website. Nikki, this is his genetic profile. I would not recommend marrying him for this reason. These are good reasons to marry him. And I did this whole internet thing and set up a whole business out of Nikki's cells, Nikki's genetic makeup, and I profited millions of dollars from it. Your hair wasn't yours.
It's true that could actually happen.
How is that any different?
Ethically, it's
see how
it's all right. Morally, obviously it's wrong because you're profiting incredibly off of this, and Nikki doesn't see a dime. And
That's
that's what
It
happened
wasn't
in
his
the last
hair.
cases.
It was no longer his.
Right.
So
So
it fell
ethically,
off his body.
right. Ethically, it's right.
What's that?
But it's not like
Morally,
he-
it's wrong.
but it's not
See,
like he
morals and
chose
ethics
it.
constantly are in
I don't see how it's
contrast.
ethically right or morally wrong. I mean, I don't see how it's ethically right.
What's the red?
I think
According to the
You're talking about in relation to the law.
Into the law.
It would seem to be right in relation to the authority, right in relation to the authority of the Supreme Court.
Right. Of California.
It doesn't make it ethical or moral, even though the Supreme Court deems it appropriate.
Our laws are based on ethics. I mean,
But this ruling, even though this ruling is what passed, it doesn't make it a correct ruling.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
well, there are a lot of
In relation
topics
to
that
truth,
can be debated
morality, and
for
ethics.
correct rulings.
Because what if I were
As a
to
matter
judge-
of opinion. Obviously, the justices of the Supreme Court of California found it ethical to take the cells, and since they profited off
They didn't find it
from what
ethical.
they
They
did.
didn't find it unethical,
Right.
which is different, I would say.
That's true.
I don't know. I don't know.
But also, if you think about it, the guy Moore and the same with Henrietta Lacks is they took the cells, but besides that, they literally didn't do like anything, you could
I
say.
understand that, sure.
And the doctors who profited incredibly off of this, you could also say, are the ones who did stuff. So for them to, from the commercialization of the cells, for them to make a profit is definitely understandable. Now, it's a moral standpoint, and there are many different perspectives on whether or not the people should get the money. I mean, obviously it is their cell.